Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to today's British parliamentary debate. My friends Giacinta Azzahra and Nabila will be your moderator for this session. Thank you for all debaters and audience member for joining us. The motion today is this House will ban the use of AI generate deepfakes in political campaigns. This debate will follow the British parliamentary format, which consists of four teams. For the first, opening government, second, opening opposition, the third, closing government, and the last is closing opposition. Each speaker will be given 5 minutes to deliver their speech. POIs or point of information are allowed if the others give the change. And the first minute and before the last minute of each page for the rules of POI. Please make sure to respect each other's speech for the speaker's time and maintain proper debate ethics throughout the session. Now, let us begin with this debate with inviting the first speaker from the opening government, Giacinta Azzahra. The times is yours.
Okay, good afternoon, members of the opposition, member of the House, and fellow debaters. As the Prime Minister of today's debate, I stand proudly with the motion. This House will ban the use of AI-generated deepfakes in political campaigns. First, we define AI-generated deepfakes as videos, images, or audio created using artificial intelligence that makes it look like someone is doing or saying something they never actually did. This can be very realistic and hard to detect. Second, the phrase political campaigns refers to organized efforts by political parties or candidates to influence public opinion, gain support, and win elections. As the government team, we strongly support this motion. We believe that banning the use of AI-generated deepfakes in political campaigns is necessary to protect democracy, prevent misinformation, and ensure fair elections. Today, we will explain our argument in three main reasons. First, deepfakes spread false information quickly and easily. Second, they damage public trust in political institutions. And the third, they can unfairly influence voters by manipulating emotions. Why is this important? Because political campaigns are meant to inform voters, not to deceive them. Deepfakes can be used to create fake speeches, fake scandals, or fake attacks, making it appear as if a candidate said or did something they never did. This can confuse voters, create public outrage, and ruin reputations in seconds. In a democratic society, people must be able to make decisions based on truth. If AI is used to create lies that look like the truth, then election become a game of manipulation instead of honest debate. Moreover, deepfakes can cause long-term harm. Even if a fake video is proven false later, many people will still believe it. The damage is already done. Once trust is lost, it is hard to get it back. Let me give some real-world examples. In 2022, in 2020, a deepfake video of Barack Obama calling Donald Trump names went viral. Although it was later revealed as a project to raise awareness, many people believed it was real at first. This shows how easily people can be misled. A report from the Brookings Institution states that fake technology is becoming more accessible, and political misinformation of using AI is already growing threat to election integrity. These examples show that the use of deepfakes is not only possible, it is already happening. If we don't take action now, the problem will only grow. In conclusion, this aspect clarifies that banning AI-generated deepfakes in political campaigns is not just a good idea. It is a necessary step to protect truth, trust, and transparency in the democratic process. We must act before technology is used to destroy the very foundation of democracy. A fair political campaign should be based on facts and real values, not fake videos and false impressions. That is why we, as the government team, strongly support the motion. this House will ban the use of AI-generated deepfakes in political campaigns. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Giacinta Azzahra.
Okay, so now let us invite the leader of the opposition, Bella Nabila, to deliver the next speech. Okay, Bella, time is yours.
Okay, good afternoon, members of the House, member of the opposition, and fellow debaters. As the leader of opposition, I stand before you today to firmly oppose the motion that this House will ban the use of AI generate deepfakes in political campaigns. The government wants us to believe that a total ban is the right solution. But we from the opposition will demonstrate why this approach is overly drastic ineffective, and potentially harmful to freedom of expression and innovation. A deepfakes ban is difficult to implement and ineffective is preventing disinformation. A total ban on AI-generated deepfakes in political campaigns is incredibly difficult to effectively implement and will not significantly prevent or the spread of disinformation. Firstly, deepfake technology is evolving rapidly, making it increasingly challenging to detect, especially for the average person. The government will be unable to police every deepfake circulating across various platforms, especially with this viral spread. Reports from institutions like the Brookings Institution and the Center of Strategic and International Studies (CSIS) have highlighted the significant challenges in detecting and tracking deepfakes. They show that while detection tools exist, their accuracy varies and they can be easily circumvented by sociopathic deepfakes creators. Furthermore, countries that have attempted to enact similar laws have faced immense difficulties of enforcement, demonstrating that ban alone is inefficient. Therefore, in the best cannot effectively enforce, the government primary goal of preventing disinformation will not be achieved. Instead, it will only create a false sense of security while diverting attention from more comprehensive solution. Better solution exists to address misinformation without a total ban. Rather than total ban, a more effective can proportionate approach to addressing the fake-related misinformation enhance digital literacy, platform regulation, and the enforcement of existing laws. A total ban of deepfakes would restrict a potential for information and freedom of expression. Deepfakes are not entirely malicious. A wiser approach is to focus on empowering the public to be critical. So, if initiatives like media literacy now in the United States or digital literacy program supported by UNESCO have proven effectively improving the public ability to identify fake news. Moreover, major platforms such as Meta, Facebook, Instagram, and Google YouTube already have strict policies against disinformation and media manipulation. Thus, our focus should not abandoning the technology itself, but on empowering individuals and enforcing excising regulation to ensure responsibility, use, and combat misuse. So the conclusion is, we from the opposition team believe that this motion like the misguided step. A total ban on AI using generated deepfakes in political campaigns is a mirage that can never be effectively implemented that will not only restrict crucial freedoms. The real solution, the real solution lie in enhanced digital literacy, platform accountability, and the vigorous enforcement of existing laws. Therefore, we firmly oppose the motion and urge this House not to ban the use of AI generate deepfakes in political campaigns totally. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, leader of the opposition, Bella Nabila. And now I would call Deputy Prime Minister Jasmine Putri Jasmine Putri, time is yours.
Okay, good afternoon, fellow debaters, respected opposition, and fellow members of the House. Thank you for allowing me to speak. As the Deputy Prime Minister, I rise today to firmly support this motion. This House will ban the use of AI-generated deep fakes in political campaigns. My Prime Minister has already explained what this motion means and why it matters. I am here to reinforce her points, deepen the analysis, and show you why this ban is not only logical but necessary. Let's remind ourselves of the definition we have set. AI-generated deepfakes refers to videos, images, or audio that have been artificially created to make it appear as if someone did or said something they never actually did. And we are focusing on specifically how these deepfakes are used in political campaigns, which are supposed to be about something informing the public and winning the support based on the truth, not on trickery. The Prime Minister laid out three core harms. Deepfakes spread false information, they destroy public trust, and they emotionally manipulate voters. I will now build on each of those harms and explain why banning deepfakes is a crucial step to protect the heart of democracy. First, we are talking about the videos that look real, sound real, and are designed specifically to deceive. We are not talking about harmless memes or obvious parodies. When someone sees a candidate say something outrageous in a video, even if it's not real, the damage is already done. That fake moment spreads across social media in seconds. It becomes viral, triggering anger and fear emotional reaction before people even think the question in its authenticity. And the problem is, our brain doesn't easily forget what we see. Studies in cognitive psychology show that first impressions stick out to the person who sees it, even after corrections are made. So, even if a deepfake is later proven false, emotional damage is already affecting the democratic reaction. That's not how we want people to choose their leaders. The second point is deepfakes destroy trust in political institutions. Political campaigns rely on the public's ability to distinguish between real and fake. Once deepfakes become a normal tool, normalized, people will start to question everything. Did that speech really happen? Is that apology real? Was that the video legitimate or not? When people cannot tell the difference anymore, they stop trusting process. And when the trust is gone, democracy weakens. A real confession can be dismissed as AI generated. This opens the door for bad actors to avoid accountability by simply saying, "Oh, that was not me." We are not just inviting lies, we are making the truth optional. The third point my Prime Minister brought up was how deepfakes manipulate voters emotionally. And I want to stay here for a moment because this is powerful and dangerous too. Imagine a video of candidates supposedly insulting a religion or attacking a certain group of people. It goes viral 3 days before an election. By the time it's proven fake, the voters have already been hurt, scared, or enraged. And some might already have changed their mind about who they vote for. Election should be decided based on real arguments, real policies, and real debates, not manipulated emotion caused by AI-generated lies. My Prime Minister brought up was how how deepfakes manipulate voters emotionally. So there are also laws against misinformation, but there are deepfakes go beyond simply misinformation. They are harder to detect, harder to track, and harder to regulate. Waiting for platforms to remove them or response might take time in politics. That's all for me. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Prime Minister. So now, we are invite the Deputy Leader of the Opposition to present their arguments. Siti Adhwa. Siti Adhwa, time is yours.
Okay, so good afternoon, members of the government, member of the House, and also fellow debaters. As the Deputy of Opposition, I stand before you today to reinforce to deepen our team's stance against the motion that this House would ban the use of AI-generated deepfakes in political campaigns. The government may wish us to unequivocally demonstrate that their solution is flawed, ineffective, and potentially dangerous. First, let's address the claim made by the government team. They spoke at length about the potential for damage to democracy and erosion of public trust deepfakes. However, this argument oversimplifies the issue. Acknowledge that damage to democracy and the erosion of public trust are not new phenomena that emerge with deepfakes. They existed long before, caused by fake news, anti-political promises, and the traditional smear campaigns. Banning deepfakes is merely closing one small window when the entire house is already leaking. The government also argued that this ban would protect voters from manipulation. However, we contend that this ban could actually provide a false sense of security. Disinformation creators will adapt. They will shift to other technologies that not yet banned, or refer to older methods like manually edited image and videos, like manually or even simple rumors and gossips. The government has failed to explain how they will genuinely eradicate the root cause of this disinformation, not just one of its symptoms. A deepfake ban also raised their driving this technology underground, making it even harder to monitor and combat. Now, let's expand upon our leader of the opposition's argument regarding the need for more proactive and sustainable solutions. Instead of a reactive approach of prohibition, our team proposes aggressively promoting digital literacy and societal resilience against disinformation. Focusing on a deepfake ban diverts resources from more effective and empowering solutions, building a critical public capable of identifying and rejecting false information regardless of its sources. Why is this crucial? Because in today's information flooded era, we cannot forever rely on the government to be a gatekeeper of truth. Society must be empowered. Robust digital literacy programs from schools to uh, community initiative can teach individuals how to evaluate sources, recognize signs of manipulation, and understand how digital media works. This isn't just about deepfakes, it's about building a mental fortress against all forms of disinformation. Building an intelligent and critical populace is a far more valuable long-term investment than a narrow, easily circumvented ban. Countries like Finland have successfully integrated media literacy education into their national curriculum, resulting in one of the most resilient populations against disinformation globally. Studies by the World Economic Forum consistently highlight digital literacy as key to combating infodemic. Instead of expending time and resources chasing every potential deepfake, most of which might never even be caught. Why not invest those resources in bolstering society's ability to independently filter information? Ultimately, this debate isn't just about deepfakes, but also about the principles of freedom of expression and the effectiveness of regulation. If we ban deepfakes, we are implicitly saying that we don't trust the public's ability to make their own informed decisions, and that the government should be arbiter of truth. This is a dangerous path. This ban also sets a concerning precedent.
What's the next technology that will be banned due to its potential for misuse? Cell phones, cameras, editing software. A more prudent approach is to focus on enforcing existing laws against defamation, fraud, or incitement, regardless of whether a deepfake or another method was used. By doing so, we protect victims and punish perpetrators while we still preserving space for legitimate innovation and expression. The government team proposes an overly narrow and naive solution. A deepfake ban is an illusion to of control that will fail
So,
to
Nabila,
eradicate
the time is
the.
over.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Deputy Leader of Opposition. Now, we invite the member of the government to present their arguments. Jasmine Salsabila. Jasmine Salsabila, time is yours.
Okay. Good afternoon, fellow debaters. As the member of government, I stand in full support of the motion this House would ban the use of AI-generated deepfakes in political campaigns. Here I will show you how deepfakes pose a long-term threat to democracy and why regulation alone is not enough. AI-generated deepfakes undermine the public's capacity to make informed political decisions. Trust between trust between candidates and voters is important in any campaign. But when fake videos are introduced, even in parody form, the line between truth and fiction begin to blur. This leads to a condition known as truth decay, where people doubt even legitimate information when people doubt even legitimate information. When voters can distinguish a real from fake, democracy itself becomes fragile. A study from the MIT Media Lab in 2021 found that exposure to even a single deepfake can make people distrust both authentic and false political content.
POI, please.
Yes?
If your goal is to prevent misinformation, how do you justify banning all AI deepfakes in campaigns, even those clearly labeled as satire or parody? Isn't that a threat to freedom of expression? Thank you.
Thanks for the POI. We ban deepfakes not to silence expression, but to protect the truth in politics. Even labeled satires spreads fast and can mislead before context catches up. In elections, trust is fragile. Satire can still exist just without AI that mimics real people. This ban preserves clarity and accountability in political speech. May I continue my speech?
Yes,
Yes, dear,
please.
thank you.
This is not a hypothetical problem. It's happening in the US and India. Fake videos of political figures have already influenced voters. Therefore, banning deepfakes is not just about stopping lies. It's about maintaining the integrity of election. Now, the opposition may argue for regulation or increased digital literacy, but these solutions are too slow for the speed of today's misinformation. Fact checkings happen after damage is done, and digital literacy takes years to build. While deepfake spreads in seconds, most voters don't have the time to verify everything they see online during high pressure election seasons. Let's take this further, building on what the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister have laid out. I want to highlight the ethical decay deepfakes bring into political culture. This is no longer just about misleading information, but weaponizing a person's identity without consent. When candidates are turned into digital puppets, voters are no longer judging policies or values. In the Philippines, for example, AI generated videos are circulated showing candidates acting irrationally. These videos weren't real, but they shaped public perception. That's not a free speech, but it's a calculated manipulation. This creates a dangerous precedent. The winner is not the most competent or trusted leader, but the one whose team can exploit technology most effectively. That's not democracy, but it's a digital warfare. In conclusion, deepfakes erode democratic trust by bypass regulation and degrade political integrity. A ban is not a censorship. It is a necessary safeguard for truth, fairness, and dignity in elections. If we care about preserving the core values of democracy, then we must not allow artificial deception to replace authentic choice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, member of the government. And now we invite the member of the opposition, Jihan Azhari. Jihan Azhari, time is yours.
Good afternoon, members of the government, members of the House, distinguished adjudicators, fellow debaters, and esteemed audience. As the member of opposition, I stand before you today to close our team's compelling case. We firmly oppose the motion to ban the use of AI-generated deepfakes in political campaigns, having heard from both the entire government bench and our team. I will demonstrate why their approach is a fatal flaw based on fear, not pragmatic solution. Let's turn to the arguments from the government bench, particularly from the Deputy Prime Minister. They've consistently termed the existential threat posed by defects to democracy, but I ask, do they truly grasp the landscape of disinformation? Threats to democracy are already pervasive, from biased media, hate speech, to already severe political polarization. Deepfakes are merely one form of expression of disinformation and not even the most damaging one. The government has also failed to explain how this ban will be realistically enforced. Will they hire a global internet police force to scrutinize every uploaded video? Deepfake technology is becoming increasingly sophisticated, and its perpetrators will always be one step ahead of regulators. This isn't about whether deepfakes can be made, but about how society reacts to them. This ban is a symbolic gesture, one that fails to address the root causes of disinformation and instead provides a dangerous illusion of security. The government demands a ban, but they offer no realistic enforcement plan or sustainable long-term solutions. Now, allow me to deepen our team's agreement, articulated by our leader of opposition and deputy leader of opposition regarding the importance of preserving freedom of expression and innovation. A total ban of deepfakes would disproportionately restrict political satire, parody, and other legitimate and vital forms of creative expression in a whole political discourse, as well as stifle technological innovation. In a mature democracy, satire and parody are powerful tools to criticize, highlight hypocrisy, and even make the public think critically. Deepfakes in the right context can be incredibly effective for this purpose. Imagine a deepfake of a politician dancing in a silly costume to mock their politics. This is a form of political commentary. By banning deepfakes entirely, the government is effectively throwing the baby out with the bathwater. They are not only banning niche, but also legitimate and even enlightening use. Furthermore, a ban would stifle research and development in deepfake technology, which could actually be used for good, for instance, in education or art. This is a blow to innovation. Historically, political cartoons or caricatures have used external good reputation to critic leaders. Deepfakes are a digital evolution of this tradition. For example, organizations like The Daily Show or Last Week Tonight with John Oliver frequently use visual manipulation, though not necessarily extensive AI deepfakes. For clear satirical purpose, if we ban all deepfakes, we effectively silence legitimate form of creative critics. Law in advanced democracy typically have exemption for parody and satire in copyright and defamation law, recognizing their crucial value. Our team has presented a far superior model compared to the government's narrow and ineffective ban.
Sorry, Jihan, the time is over.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your speech, member of the opposition. Now we invite whip government to deliver the next speech. Salsabilla Sandi Hanif, time is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, the opposition team, and good afternoon that everyone present. As a government whip, I am proud of my to stand in closing for the proposition bench. My role today is clear. I will summarize our case, clash directly with the opposition, and solidify why we win this debate. Let's begin. Throughout this debate, our government bench have painted one consistent urgent message. Deepfakes are not just false, they are fatal to democracy. Our Prime Minister began by defining what at stake. Deepfakes are hyper-realistic videos or audio made by AI to show someone doing or saying something they never did. In political campaigns, these are used to spread lies, destroy reputations, and manipulate voters. She gave three key harms. One, they spread disinformation faster than we can respond. They destroy trust in political institutions, and they emotionally manipulate voters with fabricated content. Then, our Deputy Prime Minister deepened the analysis. She explained how first impressions stick even when people later learn a video was fake. She showed how deepfakes create a world where truths become optional, real events can be denied as just AI, while fake events are believed. Finally, our member of government added the long-term risk. She talked about truth decay, how repeated exposure to deepfakes leads voters to distrust everything, even real footage. And she reminded us this is not a future problem. It's already happening in the places like in the US, India, and Philippines. All three speakers agree. This is not just a technical threat. This is a threat to the foundation of democracy itself. Now, let me address what the opposition might say. But we should regulate deepfakes, not ban them. But we told you why this fails. Deepfakes are difficult to detect, spread instantly on social media, and by the time platforms respond or fact checkers step in, the damage is already been done. Second, let's educate people to recognize them. This assumes that everyone can spot a deepfakes, but even experts sometimes can be fooled. We cannot expect everyday voters to become digital detectives in the middle of an election. That's unfair, unrealistic, and dangerous. So, what are we comparing in this debate? On their side, theoretically, fears about censorship and unrealistic or faster regulations, and our sides, real harms happening right now means misinformation, distrust, and emotional manipulation of erosion. We showed you the impact of millions influenced by fake videos. Voters deserve truth and not deceptions. A ban is clear, enforceable line that protects voters and candidates alike. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a choice. Do we allow technology to hijack election and destroy trust? Or do we draw a clear line and say fake speech has no place in democracy? We choose the latter. We choose honesty, integrity, and trust. That's why we on the government bench proudly propose this motion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Government Whip. Okay, next we invite Opposition Whip to tell their arguments. Okay, Kesya Asyura, time is yours.
Good afternoon, distinguished members of the government, members of the House, esteemed fellow debaters. As the opposition whip, I stand before you today to articulate precisely why you must unequivocally reject the motion put forth by the government, the banning of the use of AI-generated defects in political campaigns. Throughout this debate, we have witnessed how the government team has built their case on a foundation of fear and flawed assumption, while we on the opposition side have presented an approach that is far more pragmatic, empowering, and liberty preserving. Let's dismantle the final claims from the government bench. They have persistently argued that defects pose an existential threat to democracy, yet they fail to explain why defects compared to other extensive forms of disinformation are so uniquely perilous to hide behind the perilous as the necessitate a total ban. The government continues to hide behind the rhetoric of protection, but they offer no realistic enforcement mechanism. Are they going to purge every satirical or parodic video that use defect technology? Next,
UI.
okay.
So opposition, you only focus on digital literacy, but isn't deepfake dangerous now? And digital literacy is a long-term solution too late for this election.
Thank you. The danger of disinformation is present now, but it's not just defects. A total ban simply fails. We over existing laws for immediate enforcement and digital literacy as a long-term effective bulwark. So we have solution for now and for the future. Let me continue. This is an unenforceable ban that will simply drive this technology underground, making it even harder to detect address. The government also connected that public trust will crumble without this ban. But I ask, is public debt already so high? This misconception ignores the fact that fake news and that disinformation is already rampant in the form of hoax, fake news, and non-AI manipulated images. A ban of a ban on AI defects will not magically restore trust. It will merely provide a superficial illusion of solution, all while neglecting the deeper issue of media literary and true platform accountability. In short, the government case is reactive, narrow, and ultimately ineffective in facing a far larger and more complex challenge. Now let's recap the robust case that the opposition team has built. Our leader of opposition brilliantly demonstrated that that defects ban itself is unenforceable and would not be effective in preventing the spread of disinformation. This technology unfolds too rapidly, and purposely will always find ways to circumvent restriction. Our deputy of opposition defended this argument by proposing a far more effective and proactive solution that of enhanced digital literacy and societal resilience. We argue that an educated populace is the best defense against all form of disinformation, including defects, rather than relying on an unrealistic bet. Finally, our member of opposition persuasively argued the danger of this ban to freedom of expression, particularly in the form of legitimate political satire and parody. In essence, our team has argued that a total ban is an overly drastic solution to a much broader problem, a solution that will fail in practice and will ultimately restrict essential freedom without delivering significant benefits. In contrast, the opposition model is a proactive empowering model. We propose investing in the public intelligence and critical thinking capabilities through digital literacy while still enforcing existing laws against defamation and fraud. Our model doesn't just treat the symptom; is built robust and long-term defenses against all form of disinformation. It's therefore clear that the government's case is weak, impractical, and harmful. The opposition case is far stronger, more pragmatic, and more aligned with principle of a healthy democracy. We on the opposition have demonstrated that there is a better path that empowers citizens, respect freedoms, and realistically combat disinformation. We have won a pragmatism, effectiveness, and democratic values. Therefore, we firmly urge you to reject this motion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Opposition Whip, for your speech. So, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of today's debate. We have now heard all the arguments from the opening government, opening oppositions, closing government, and closing opposition. On the motion, this House would ban the use of AI-generated deepfakes in political campaigns. Thank you to all speakers for your passionate and well-structured arguments. Your participation today has shown strong critical thinking and public speaking skills. We appreciate everyone's attention and cooperation throughout the session. That concludes our debate. Thank you and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank